Just a short video today to point out something that most people never even think about. I'm putting together a video very soon about flight paths. One of the one of the better proofs of the concept of biblical Earth. I am going to stop referring to it as flat Earth because it's not flat. Never has been flat. Even the ocean, which is water and it finds its own level, isn't flat. It's constantly moving. There are waves, swells, and then on the land we have mountains, valleys, deserts. Some of it's below sea level, some of it's 15,000 feet above sea level. And why do they call it sea level anyway? Kind of burnt their own breakfast for that one, didn't they? I think that comes under the heading of they have to tell us. I don't know why they have this rule, but I love it. Because, well, I kind of do know why they have it. So it's been said that they give us the clues that all of this is BS because us not standing up and demanding truth is acceptance of their lies. And in a way, they're right. Permission, if you will, for them to keep lying. But anyway, so the official story is that Earth is a spinning ball. And the speed of the spinning ball at the equator is said to be over 1,000 miles an hour. 1,040, I think, to be exact. But hey, I'm no scientist, so I don't know for a fact. But think about that for a minute. If you fly from New York to Los Angeles and you're going west, the wind is behind you, I think. So let's say it takes, I don't know how long it takes to go from coast to coast, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, 4 hours. Well, on the return flight, it's also 4 hours with 1,000 mile an hour headwind. Now, those who believe the official stories will tell you, oh no, the atmosphere moves with the planet. Okay, I'll bite on that one. If there's nothing between us and space, a vacuum, but layers of atmosphere, how is it that you see that it's moving at the exact same time and speed as the Earth? That defies all common sense by itself. But let's just say they're wrong. There's no way that you could fight a headwind and have the flight have the exact same time. So there's something for you to think about, especially if you fly. I do not. The last time I flew was 1977. And I remember several times of flying and remarking of how level everything looked outside of the window. I think now they have curved windows so that you see the curvature. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm told. But the last time that I flew was from Odessa, Texas to Dallas. And we hit an air pocket, which is now, I think, called a downdraft. And the plane dropped considerably, a lot faster than it should have, right over Love Field in Dallas. And it wasn't just the landing part, it was the approach where we dropped. I don't remember masks dropping out of the planes. Heck, I don't even know if we had them in 1977. I think we did. But that gave me quite a shock. The next thing that cemented my thought of maybe I don't need to fly anymore was seeing the aftermath of Delta 191 that crashed at DFW, Dallas area. I think it was in the 80s. The plane hit in a downdraft, actually. And for whatever reason, it could not correct itself. And I think the plane skid over a mile and wound up hitting 2 oil tanks. That was it for me. And realistically, I've never needed to fly anywhere since then. So I don't. But for those who do, next time you go from coast to coast, ask the pilot or the stewardess why it doesn't take any longer and see what they say. In fact, if you can get to the pilot, ask him if he's ever seen the curvature. I've worked for 2 of them, building their decks, and I asked both of them what's the highest they'd ever flown. Both were around 40,000 feet. One said 41, one said 39. I asked the first one if he'd ever seen the curvature, and he said, "No, I have not." He said, "I'm not even sure if it's there." And I told him, well, I can assure you it's not, but we both had a good laugh over that one. The second one was this last year, and I asked him what map he used to fly. And he said they were already preloaded into the computer, but that they looked like I can't remember the name of it, equidistant map or some sort, but it looks like the Gleason map a lot. In fact, it's almost identical, but it doesn't have the red ring around it, of course. But when you look at flight paths, you realize that some of the stops that are made for emergencies or fuel or whatever don't make any sense on a globe. The wildest example, and I'm going to try to find this for the video, is a flight from Singapore, and I believe it was going somewhere in South America. But there was someone who was pregnant on the flight and complications developed. And they landed, I think it was in Alaska, for treatment for the condition, whatever she had. Well, if you look at Singapore on a globe and South America on a globe, even the northern part, would it make any sense to stop in Alaska? No, it would not. That would mean that you would be traveling way out of your way to get to the destination. That would take almost as long as going to where you were headed in the first place. Unless, of course, it were in a straight line. So I'm going to show you some of these videos and see what you think. Critical thinking cap necessary.
The Earth is moving from side to side, but you happen to be landing on a strip going north. The movement of the ground underneath you.
The ground isn't moving that much when you're traveling at the speed of. I mean, we landed about 143 knots, so that's quite fast. So I mean, the movement of the Earth it's not negligible. It's basically standing still as compared to our motion at that moment.
That's your experience?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they tell us, that at least in the U.S., the ground's moving at about 700 miles an hour left to right. And I was thinking that's kind of odd if you're landing, going north, or moving in the north direction.
No. The ground looks to us like it's standing still.
Yeah, not an issue, huh?
Yeah, no.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
pilots that are figuring out the routes that they're taking make absolutely no sense on a ball. The Qantas pilots, they're figuring it out, and they say that they talk about it openly in their lounge, but they don't talk about it publicly because they'll lose their jobs. We interviewed a KLM woman pilot who was showing us all the reasons she knows the Earth is flat and stationary. Besides every FAA manual saying treat the Earth as a flat stationary plane, she interviewed with us on our show called Globebusters, and then the next day she was fired. Right? So people, they don't want to lose their livelihood. But check this out: if you want to fly from Western Australia to Santiago, the quickest route would be just duck underneath the continent of Antarctica. I'm trying to find my picture. Just duck here, just fly across, right? Fly across Antarctica, or just go outside of Antarctica. If you don't want to fly over Antarctica, just take this short route at 50 degrees south or whatever that is.
I was given to understand that's what they did.
Yeah, well, no one ever, they don't do that. This is the route. They go all the way up to America. They go all the way across and all the way down, right? Worse than that, if you want to go from Eastern Australia, they go all the way up to Europe and Dubai. Then they go all the way over here, and then they go all the way down. And if you look at that on a flat Earth map, right, here, they go all the way up across America, over to Europe, and to Eastern Australia. It's a straight line. And that's the route the planes take.
So this is the route that planes take for direct.
Now
from Australia to
Qantas has a direct flight now, which caused made us wonder, like, how are they doing that? Their direct flight, they only have one aircraft, right? I think they maybe have 2 or 3 of them, but it's only one special aircraft that has 7 layers of heat-resistant paint. That's interesting. Maybe they're flying a little faster than they're telling us. And they go up, they fly at like 45,000 feet. Well, at 45,000 feet, there's circular winds that circle the Earth plane that go 200 miles an hour, give or take. Well, you put that tailwind on that with a plane that can fly 700 miles an hour, the plane routes make it. I'll show you those winds in a second when I share my screen. But the other thing is emergency plane landings prove the Earth is flat. Here's a flight from Wuhan, China, right? Here's Hawaii going to Colombia. You would think this is where they go. Well, right about here, there was something happened. Someone had a heart attack or a baby or something. And instead of turning around and going back or landing in Hawaii, they went and landed in Alaska, thousands of miles out of the way. But if you look at that on a flat Earth map, this is the route that they take. Okay. This is the route that they take. Right? Crazy, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
well,
wait, so here, you know what?
I've always found it interesting, believe me.
Yeah. That's the route to take. I'm sorry. This is the one that had the emergency landing. Tokyo to Mexico City, and they landed here when the emergency happened here. But if you look at Tokyo to Mexico City on a flat Earth map, it makes perfect sense now.
So when it comes to the flight of descent, do you have to compensate for curvature?
No.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay. So whenever you land like east to west, do you ever have to like slow down or speed up whenever you land?
It depends on, periodically. It depends on wind, usually. So.
What do you mean depends on wind?
Well, it's a function of ground speed.
A function of ground speed?
Ground speed, right.
So like...
The wind in your face, then you're going to be slower.
No, like if you're landing east, and then if you're landing west,
right,
would you have to like slow down or speed up due to Earth's motion?
No.
No?
Nope.
So
Earth's motion has nothing to do with it.
So we don't compensate for the curvature whenever we're landing.
We don't do anything.
And then we don't do anything when it comes to the motion of Earth.
Curvature is...
So Earth has to be a level stationary plane, right?
Fairly. In relative to us, yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good night.
You as well. At least he was blunt about it. That just made my day. My gosh, that was awesome.
Please can someone help explain how on this flight the moon is below the horizon? some way.